Hello and welcome to a quick demonstration of the Senitron RFID solution for retailers. In this video, I'm going to do a quick review of how RFID technology can benefit your retail stores with reference to RFID technology, where you can basically use a handheld RFID scanner along with the Senitron software, an RFID printer, and RFID labels. I'll show you pretty much how very quickly Senitron can give you a full end-to-end solution for your retail store to give you the biggest benefits of RFID. Those biggest benefits being that once you start using RFID labels for your inventory, you will be able to walk around and use a handheld RFID scanner to quickly, wirelessly from distance, read about 1,000 items per second. And somebody can walk around and in about 20 to 30 minutes to an hour, read 10, 20,000 pieces of inventory, push a button, and then it uploads into the Senitron cloud software where you can see that inventory. And then you can push a button and synchronize that inventory to your POS software to correct the inventory counts in your POS software. There are other benefits with RFID that I'll be showing you with the software and the handheld. The other benefits include, amongst other things, an option where if you're looking for a specific item like a needle in a haystack, you can put in the part number, and then as you get closer to it wirelessly, it starts making noises so you can quickly find it. A proximity finder, which we call Geiger function. That's another huge benefit. Other benefits include transfer slips. Retailers that have multiple locations get huge benefits from being able to scan 500 products and say transfer to location 2, and it creates a manifest. And then on the other side, when they receive the product, they very quickly, in 30 seconds to a minute, they read 500 items, and it not only receives it, but it audits that, and it tells you 3 pieces are missing. So it makes inventory management, thousands of times more efficient and faster than any traditional barcode or any other method. So that's what I'll be reviewing for you on this video today. Let's get started. So here's our catalog, and I'm just going to use the catalog to talk to each of the features, and then I'll pause and I'll show you each of the features of how it could benefit your retail business. So first of all, on the first page of the catalog, you'll notice we have a person with the handheld RFID scanner representing that, this is the main function where you can walk around and do RFID scans. They have a tablet because our main software, one of the biggest reasons why our software is so fantastic is because the main software is cloud-based. So from the cloud, you can access all of your locations' inventories from one main cloud dashboard. And then this represents fixed RFID readers. So our solution is one of the only solutions on the market that once we ship out the solution to you, within a few hours, you can start getting the benefits of RFID. And it works with handheld RFID, fixed RFID. The difference I'll talk about shortly once we go to the next slide. So the biggest benefits of RFID, as I was mentioning a moment ago, is you can do super fast inventory counts. That was the most immediate, most obvious benefit. The inventory locator and mapping technology. So not only when you do inventory, in addition to that, it shows you where the items are on your floor plan. And I'll show you a quick screenshot of that. Super fast transfer slips, theft, and unauthorized alerts. So we'll talk about that. You can print. So with our solution, it's an all-in-one solution. You can print RFID labels, and then you could use handheld RFID and fixed RFID. So out of the box, the software allows you to drive all your RFID hardware. There is plenty of RFID hardware in the market, but there is not any good software until we came along, and that's why we're having this presentation for you guys. POS inventory compare. So one of the main nice functions of the software is that once you get the inventory, it gives you a beautiful dashboard where you can compare what RFID counted versus what your POS has in its inventory. real-time replenishment alerts. So as inventory moves from the back stock to the sales floor, for example, it can automatically set off a replenishment alert that says, hey, go ahead and replenish another item from back stock to sales floor. Shipment order auditing, so that's another feature that it has, and I'll cover that as well. RFID POS scanning. So if you want a situation where you want to have POS, RFID scanning at your POS where people can put a bunch of things on the counter and it all populates into your POS software, we have that feature as well. Hybrid of RFID and barcode inventory. So as you get more into RFID and realize where RFID works and where it doesn't, 90% of everything can be RFID labeled, but if you have super small items that are not practical to RFID label, our solution also allows you to scan those items because this gun also has a barcode scanner, and you can do a confirmation and do a hand count and say, yes, I confirm this particular widget has quantity 50. So we support the best of both worlds, RFID and barcode inventory. And this is just pointing out again that our solution is one of the only solutions that works with both fixed RFID and handheld RFID. And it does real-time inventory tracking. So if you have fixed RFID readers in different areas, it automatically tracks the movement as inventory goes from sales floor to back stock, or from store 1 to store 2, warehouse 1 to warehouse 2. So all of these benefits are in the Senitron RFID solution. So the main things that this picture is depicting is that, yes, the primary, for most retailers, when they want to get started, we recommend handheld RFID because it's the easiest way to start taking advantage of RFID. And typically when it comes to fixed RFID readers, we recommend that 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the line after they've got accustomed to using handheld RFID. With the handheld RFID, you can get the biggest benefits where, as I was mentioning, you can do inventory, you can use the proximity finder, the transfer slips, all that stuff. The fixed RFID is a much more efficient at movement tracking and setting off unauthorized alerts when something goes out of an exit, for example. There's different use cases for it, but we usually recommend that a few months down the line. So as far as the concept of RFID goes, just to give you a quick RFID 101, the concept is this, where instead of using non-RFID labels for your product, you start for your inventory or product, you start using RFID labels. The difference between the RFID label is that each RFID label, if you hold it up to a light, there's a thin film on the inside that's not visible to the naked eye usually if you're just looking at it. But each one, as it prints out of a Zebra RFID printer, in addition to the human readable that prints on it, it programs the part number and a unique serial number into each label. So that's the whole concept of RFID. And so if you have 20 blue jeans, each one has a unique serial number. So the technology is designed to count the unique serial numbers. That's why when you're reading items at 1,000 times per second, it never double counts. Each item is counted only once because of the serial number serialization technology. So this tells you a little bit about the different kinds of the main 3 components of an RFID solution. It's a handheld RFID, fixed RFID scanners that you could deploy in different areas of your space. And then you have your RFID printers. This is typically 90% of deployments. These are the most common hardware components. And then that our software drives that hardware. Without the software, the hardware doesn't do anything. So as far as the hand scanner goes, one of the main functions is doing inventory. So I'm going to pull up my screen over here so you can see what I see on my handheld. On the handheld, there's a button on here called our inventory. So when you click on the inventory button, there is an option in here, and you just click start or you hold the trigger button, and it starts reading items super fast. So within a second, it read 83 items here in my lab. And a typical scenario is you give this to your employee, they walk around, and as long as you hear those beeps, it's counting items. but 1,000 item up to 1,000 items per second. Once you read that inventory and you click on upload, you select your zone, sales floor, and you click upload. Moments later, that inventory becomes available on your main software dashboard. So I'll show you how the dashboard looks like. The software is cloud-based. So when you open up your web browser from any web-capable device, let's say a tablet or any type of computer, once you go to app.senitron.net and you put in your credentials, it will bring you to your dashboard. On your dashboard, immediately what you'll see is your location name. So like I said, you can have multiple locations configured in here, but right now my username was set up to go into my default location, which is ABC Corp, Los Angeles. This is my demo account. And these 69,000 pieces were read by a handheld scanner by somebody walking around and reading and uploading this inventory into the dashboard. If I click on that 69,000, it opens up the inventory page. In the inventory page, you can basically see what is the on-hand quantity for each of the items that was counted by the RFID scanner. So this particular item, there's quantity 10. This one is 110. And there's filters, so you could see, how many inventory you have in different zones. You can filter by category, by brand, but ultimately it gives you the inventory count. And then if you click on a specific inventory item number, it shows you the details. Like for this particular item, there's a total of 432 pieces. And for each one, it shows you when was the last time it was read by either a hand scanner or a fixed scanner. They both flow into the same software, and the latest timestamp, the last timestamp, is always as the last seen, and it shows you the zone. So for example, this particular item, all of them are the same item, but this particular serial number with 100 units in it was seen on this time and this date in the back stock, and it's reflecting over here. If I click on that pin right there, it highlights it for me so I could see where it is. So it shows you the inventory, it has mapping, and if I click on the specific serial number, it gives me additional details, and I could see the breadcrumb of the movement. So if I had fixed readers, you would see that it came in on this day, it went into the sales floor, and then on this time it went to the backstock. So the most basic functionality of the solution is you quickly reads your inventory, it tracks your inventory, and then ultimately you can push this inventory back to your POS system. So how does that work? As far as the pushing the inventory back, comparing it and pushing it back to your POS, there's a section in the software called Inventory Compare. In the Inventory Compare section, it shows you side by side what RFID counted. So for example, RFID counted 17 of this particular item, and the external software, being your POS, counted 6. So it shows you a side-by-side comparison, and when you're ready to push that inventory count back to your POS, in this example, it's Lightspeed POS, but as you will see on our document, it is compatible with any POS. Integration is not required, but if integration is there, it makes it a little bit less clicks of exporting and importing. So for example, in this case with Lightspeed POS, since there is integration, you can do a quick button that downloads the quantities from Lightspeed into our compare page. So you could see a side-by-side comparison. And then when you're done, you push the button that says sync to Lightspeed, you click continue, and it pushes those quantities into Lightspeed, correcting Lightspeed's quantities, and it emails your report card that says these were the discrepancies that got corrected in your POS. So, and then if you don't have integration, then you do import and exports to achieve the same result. So we've done many integrations with a lot of different POSs throughout the years, but every day, all the time, we are accommodating new POS integrations. So either A, we may already have an integration for your POS, or B, you can use it without the integration, or C, you can request us to do an integration for you, which would be typically it's like a 2 to 3 week effort for us to do integration for you if the desire is there for us to do an integration with your specific POS. So ask us about what POS you're using and if there's existing integration, and we'll let you know at that time if there's an existing or if we can accommodate integration for you based on your request. The other function of the handheld, so I'm moving on to the next benefit. In addition to the mapping technology, there is also the proximity finder on the handheld. So I'll show you a quick demo of that. So on the handheld, if you go to the Geiger function and you search for a specific product, it shows you that there's 11 on there. You can click on Geiger All, and as soon as you get close to a particular item that is found, the behavior looks something like this. I'll show you. As soon as you get close to it, the green bar starts to go up, and you'll get the audio tones, and you know you found a needle in a haystack. So all you need to do is just walk around, and that will help you find an item very, very quickly. Salesperson wants to find an item for a customer, or they're pick packing for an order, whatever it is, you'll be able to use this function to quickly locate an item. Transfer slips. So the next part that we'll talk about is the transfer slips. I'll show you a quick demonstration of that. So when you're transferring, you do a transfer out, you'll put the product in a specific area, you'll click the start button, it will read X number of items, you will click continue, you will select your destination location, you can input any extra notes, and then click on transfer, and it creates a transfer slip for you immediately. It emails you a document that gives you a breakdown of everything that was on that transfer slip. And then on the other side, once the product is received, I'm going to switch my gun from Los Angeles to New York so you could see how that looks like. So if I was in New York and I was receiving that product, I would go to transfer, I would do a transfer in, I would select the same transfer slip, click start, it would read the same items, and then I would click on upload, and that would complete the transfer slip. And then if there are integrations with your POS, our system can go into your POS and create the equivalent transfer slips in your POS as well. So ask us about that as well if that's a feature that interests you and you have multiple locations. So the transfer slips are fantastic. The other functions is are the unauthorized alerts or theft alerts. So these fixed RFID readers that you can deploy outside of your location can be programmed to set off alerts. So for example, if an item is not sold on the POS, as it goes outside, it can set off a theft alert, which could be in a form of an SMS, audio, or email alert, whatever your preference is. In addition to that, our software has a live monitoring screen that looks like this. I'll show you this, where you can have a tablet or a screen open, and as soon as an item goes out the door, kind of like an X-ray machine, it pops up and it says widget D went out the door from the front exit, and it should not have gone out. And then your employee can click on it and say, yeah, that was stolen by a shoplifter, if that's what happened, or no, they took it outside for a moment, they're going to bring it back. So there's a lot of options for alerting and giving you like real-time feedback visually as well. So if somebody walks out with an item, not only do you get the alert, but you know what actually went out. And if it's an unauthorized alert, it lets you know that it was unauthorized. It was not sold on the POS. So that's where the RFID scanner can come in on your POS as an option of our RFID solution. You can also have RFID scanners for your POS purposes to make it fast to scan items into the POS, which additionally, it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. It's also whitelisting it, so as it goes out the door, it doesn't set off an alert at the exit sensor. So that's where the RFID sensor can kind of kill two birds with one stone in that scenario. And another thing that it talks about on our brochure is the zone movement. So as I was explaining, you can have an RFID reader on your sales floor, backstock, warehouse 1, warehouse 2, as these items move from one zone to another zone, it logs it for you and it gives you the breadcrumbs of those movements. Another function that our solution has, we've thought of everything to make life easier for you. So the biggest questions that a lot of our new customers ask is, if I'm going to start to adopt RFID technology, how can I quickly tag up my existing inventory? And there is an easy way to do that as well. Our solution has a function called scan and print. The scan and print option allows you to barcode scan any existing barcode on a product, and it spits out an equivalent RFID label that they just slap on. So you give this gun and an RFID printer that's on Wi-Fi to one of your employees, and you just tell them to barcode scan. It spits out an RFID label, they slap it on, and they do the next one. And very quickly, you can tag up your existing inventory. We have a lot of different printing accommodation methods in our software. You can do bulk printing, purchase order printing, you name it. There's a lot of different options that we have in our arsenal of RFID printing. Next function and benefit. Another feature of our RFID solution is that I was explaining the best of both worlds, where it can do barcode inventory and RFID inventory. So let's say you have bins of items that you do not want an RFID label. We support that as well. With the handheld, you can scan what is called a shelf tag with a barcode, and it pops up and it says, what is the on-hand quantity? And you confirm it, and that gets saved into the system as a non-RFID type item. So we support that as well. We already talked about the RFID POS scanning, so I'll skip over that. Another great function of our software that not too many other softwares in the market really support are box and container RFID labels. So 99% of the solutions out there, when you print an RFID label, it's for an eaches of an item. Our solution actually offers a feature where you can print an RFID label that represents quantity of 100, for example, and you put that on the box. And when you count that with the handheld scanner, it reflects as quantity 100, and it gives you the option to split and merge boxes. And if, for example, if you take 5 items out, it gives you it deducts the quantity on the 100, and then it can print 5 labels for the eaches that you took out. So it supports splitting and merging. And so on this interface, it actually asks you, how many would you like to remove from it? Save and print, split and print, and it does that for you. So that's another great feature of our solution that no other solution on the market offers. And then another function is the mapping technology. So mapping technology possible with handheld scanners. So another very, very clever part of our solution that you will not find in any other RFID solution out there is the mapping functionality with just a handheld scanner. So you may ask, how is it possible that this handheld can identify where the items are on the floor plan within your space? So we have a feature called marker tags, where we print approximately 100 sequentially numbered labels. It's the same labels that you put on your inventory, but we just print them with sequential numbers, and we ask you to place those around different areas of your retail store, hidden underneath shelves and other areas, so it's not an eyesore, obviously. But basically what that does is that if somebody goes to scan in the inventory in an area, using the process of association, it highlights for you and it shows that this inventory item is between marker tag A and marker tag B. And I'll show you how that looks like on the software. If you click on one of the actual items, let's go find an actual item. I'll go right here. It shows you that this particular item, I'm going to click on that one, was between marker tag 51 and 52. So it shows you that it's between these two marker tags. So that's another great feature of our software. And that pretty much concludes the demonstration and reviewing the catalog with you and showing you everything step by step. Please reach out if you have any additional questions. Our motto is, we make RFID easy. We have more advanced versions of our software for warehousing, distribution, and manufacturing. So please ask us about those versions of the software if you're interested. We look forward to working with you. Thank you.